An underrated move by the Chicago Bears. It's just going to make all the difference here. And in a year that saw tons of upheaval right on the offensive side, trading Justin Fields, firing Luke Getsy, cleaning out a large portion of coaches on that side of the ball, there was one part of the offense that Coach Flus and GM Ryan Poles, they were so smart in keeping on. It provides continuity to a position group that was just starting to show their potential. That part is the offensive line. And one of the best moves this Bears regime did this offseason was retaining offensive line coach Chris Morgan. Chris Morgan, he enters his third year as the offensive line coach for the Chicago Bears in 2024. What's up? This is Sports Talk Bears. We are moving towards 10,000 subscribers. And, this is a family here. Hit the subscribe button if you love the material. Would love to have you aboard. So Chris Morgan, he enters his third season as the O-line coach for the Chicago Bears. And Tevin Jenkins, he was recently interviewed by Carmen Vitale of Fox Sports. He speaks just a little about the importance of retaining Coach Morgan, and I'm just going to let him speak. I feel more continuity this year. This is from Jenkins. There's more explanation behind what we're doing instead of like last year where some things were gray in some areas. Now we're really hammering out the small details. And I feel like half the stuff, it's because we retained offensive line coach Chris Morgan. So when the Chicago Bears overhauled their offensive coaching staff this offseason, namely with the addition of Shane Waldron as the new offensive coordinator, you guys know that. But typically, and follow this, when a team changes coordinators, the entire staff is usually removed and replaced, right? This GM, this head coach, they continue to do things a little bit differently across the board, and this is just another example. And Coach Flus, he made something very clear when interviewing offensive coordinators. Coach Morgan stays. And Coach Morgan, the holdover coach from the last 2 years, he's also getting a promotion for the 2024 season. In Chicago, they are doubling down on him, and I really like this. They not only retain him, but they elevated him to run game coordinator to go with his offensive line duties. And they see a good coach here. They want him even more involved. And Morgan has spent the last 2 seasons as the O-line coach. He's just yielded positive results, and he's worked with young players such as Braxton Jones, a 5th rounder who has made good into a super solid left tackle, Tevin Jenkins, Darnell Wright. He's just been incremental in all these players' growth. And you also have the further emphasis on versatility, right? It's to the point that it should be a team motto. Under him, players like Jenkins have been able to shore up multiple areas of the line when called upon. And free agency, that's brought even more versatile tools, kind of Swiss Army knife type guys, right? These guys are brought aboard because Coach Morgan knows how to work with them. And the good thing as well, starters should now be able to concentrate on their natural positions, like gel together more as a fully functional line and let the versatile backups that we have now, they get to fill holes where needed. You guys remember the last couple of years, as opposed to being so thin in the past, an injury means a starter has to move, play a different spot. The Bears are now in a new place with the line, and GM Ryan Poles and staff, they should be commended to give all these versatile pieces now for Coach Morgan to work with. And it's just going to be like a different thing. It's not going to be a panic if somebody gets hurt. And he was one of 2 position coaches. Let's not forget that 2 position coaches remain with the team after the 2023 season. And that's tight ends coach Jim Duray as well. So after a career year from Cole Kmet, just super glad they kept Coach Dre as well. This coaching staff, this GM, they do things a little differently. I'm so glad they kept these 2 coaches. And Coach Morgan, he's still going to once again coach the offensive line. In addition to working with running backs coach Chad Morton, he's a new addition, and assistant running backs coach Jennifer King on the run game. So interesting thing as well, the Bears, they didn't have a rush game coordinator in the last 2 seasons. I mean, that's even though the rushing offense led the league in yards per game in 2022. That's 177.3 yards per game. That's really good. And second in 2023, 141.1 yards per game. It's rather odd, right? but perhaps giving more responsibility in that area to Coach Morgan, that'll help provide some continuity, and it's going to help us continue to have that portion of the offense perform at a high level and transfer seamlessly. But that's really interesting that the Bears haven't had a run game coordinator for a couple of years. And just a thought here, that might provide continuity. So let's move forward. Let's go into a little bit about him. I love this time of year. We get to profile coaches and players together as camp approaches before there's actual real day-to-day news. This is just a really good opportunity just to have some fun and get to know these guys. So he enters his 25th year of coaching. Each of the last 16 coming in the National Football League. And I'm just going to go to this profile on Coach Morgan on ChicagoBears.com. You guys get to know him, read the profile, but I'm just going to piece together some stuff from here. Before he was in Chicago, he came in 2022. He spent time with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 21, the Falcons from 15 to 20, the Seattle Seahawks in 2014, the Commanders 2011 to 13, and Oakland Raiders from 09 to 10. I mean, these coaches, they move around a lot. But in 2023, just this last year, he helped the Bears record 2,399 rushing yards on the season. That ranked second in the NFL. And collectively, the Bears also ranked tied for first in big plays rushing of 10 plus yards with 74 of them. Second in rushing yards per game at 141.1. Fifth in rushing first downs with 137, and sixth in yards per carry with about 4.5. And with his guidance, you're looking at first round draft pick Darnell Wright. He started and appeared in all 17 games at right tackle, played every single offensive snap in 16 of 17 games. And he was one of 3 rookies to start in week 1 for the Bears. I mean, that's huge. That requires good coaching for a line like that for it to gel, right? 3 rookies started in week 1. And in his final games of the season, right, he didn't allow a single sack. He only had 1 penalty through the final 5 games in the season. And he was also named first team all-rookie by Pro Football Writers of America, and that's for his performance on the year. So that's pretty impressive. And then if you look back to the first season with the Bears in 2022 for Coach Morgan, he paved the way for a Bears rushing attack, which broke a franchise record with 3,014 rushing yards. Highest rushing total since 1984. In 1984, the Bears totaled 2,974 yards. And Chicago's 3,000 yards plus, a 5.4 yard rushing average. That was a league best figure in each of their respective categories. And that carry average, the highest single season average by a Bears rushing attack since 1934, when they averaged 5.02 yards per carry. I mean, and in addition to that, weeks 6 through 10, a smaller sample size, the Bears rushed for at least 225 yards in 5 consecutive games. And that made Chicago the first team in NFL history to rush for 225 plus yards in 5 consecutive games. So that's incredibly impressive. And Morgan's also been key in the growth of Braxton Jones. He emerged as this club's starting left tackle during his rookie season after being a 5th round pick. Started all 17 games, played every single snap, and dating back to the start of the 91 NFL season, Jones became just the 6th offensive lineman drafted in the 5th round or later to start a game at left tackle for an NFL team in week 1 of his rookie season. So just like some really cool stuff that has happened under Coach Morgan's tutelage. I mean, he has done a fantastic job with coaching the team along, even in the run game. It is no surprise that he is becoming part of the run game as part of his official coaching duties. I'm sure he's been doing it all this time, and that's one of the reasons over the last 2 years that they haven't had a proper run game coordinator, because frankly, I think Coach Morgan has been doing it and the results have been fantastic. You guys let me know what's up. Thanks for sticking with me during this dead period between OTAs and training camp. It's been so much fun, and we've had a chance to do some really cool player profiles. We'll continue to do them over the next 2 weeks, and also with any late breaking news that hits the scene, I will be on it. Bear down, you guys.